Do you have questions about California's rental assistance program? Maybe you're wondering how many dollars have been distributed and how many dollars may be left. You may also be wondering whether you should apply for a local program or the state program, and maybe you want to know if you can apply again in the event that you need additional funds. We're going to run through this and other frequently asked questions you've left on our channel. Hey there. Christian Walsh, real estate agent with Wire Associates. We've been helping tenants and landlords and buyers and sellers navigate these crazy days in California and beyond. And it's time for another update on California rental assistance. We've been there since the beginning, since this was rolled out in the statewide eviction moratorium legislation. And we've been there since housingiskey.com just launched. The funds for California came from the two stimulus plans that were passed, one in December of 2020 and one in March of 2021. So a total of $46.5 billion were set aside at the national level, and the Treasury was in charge of distributing the funds. The state of California received just over 10%. We're going to show you so far how many of those dollars have been distributed. So how is the state of California doing? Well, let's check out the rental assistance dashboard. And you'll find this at Housing is Key. I also have a link below so you can take a look. This has been tracking the state and their distribution of the state funds. Now that's an important point. There are still some local municipalities that are distributing funds as well. Those are not tracked in here. These are only the state funds. And you can see that as of December 7th, when this was last refreshed, that over $1.5 billion have gone out. And I personally know a landlord who's a client of mine. He is about to receive a check for $44,000 covering back rent and some prospective rent for a tenant of his. So the program is working. On the left-hand side, you can dive down by county or city, and you can take a look and see how your local area is doing in California. But note, the total funds requested, over $6 billion have been requested. And if you remember in the beginning, I said that the state of California is receiving just over 10%. So there's only about $4.6 billion in funds that are coming to the state of California. And that's the entire state. So as of right now, it looks like there are more funds that have been requested than we have. Now, we do know that the Treasury is going to be redistributing funds in certain areas that aren't using their money or can't seem to get their money out. It's going to be distributed to higher need areas that can actually get their funds out. So I do expect the state of California to receive additional dollars. But it is important that as a landlord or tenant, make sure you apply for rental assistance sooner rather than later, because there's no guarantee that there will be another replenishing of funds once the total federal dollars are gone. And remember, we can't give tax or legal advice, but for the most honest and up-to-date real estate advice, subscribe to this channel. Let's do a quick refresher on where to find California's rental assistance program, and then how to determine whether you're going to apply to the state program or a local program. So the very first thing you're going to do is type in housingiskey.com. This is where you start your rental assistance search. And from here, you choose the language you want to move forward in. It's translated into 6 languages that you can take advantage of in order to apply for rental assistance. So you are going to click the Apply Now button. Now you will see that there's an 833 number. That number, that 833-430-2122, that is the phone number to call in and discuss. That's the hotline to discuss applying for rental assistance, to get an update on your rental assistance application. You can call that hotline or you can visit the website. Unfortunately, the hotline is often overwhelmed, and I've tried calling to get updates, and it's not an easy process, but that is the phone number to call. The hours of operation for the hotline are 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Pacific, and that's every day of the week. So here's a slight change from our last video where we do a walkthrough of the website. Most of what's in that video, which we'll link to, still applies, but here's one of the changes. Now, if you want to look at application status, you click the application status link, and that's going to take you directly to the software so you can log in. If you're starting your application, you're going to first go to Apply Now. Now, at the end of the day, you're going to end up at the same spot. You're going to end up in that same software built by Neighborly. Apply Now is where you're going to click to see whether you apply for the state or local program. When you click Apply Now, this is where it's going to take you. And this is a cool tool that they added to Housing is Key in order for you to find out where to apply. And they've simplified it. There was a third category that was very confusing. Now there's two places to apply. You either apply at the state or you apply locally. So what you're going to do is you're going to type in an address. So we'll just pick 123 Main Street. Now it pulls them up from across the nation. That is not very helpful, but we're going to find one in Huntington Beach. I know there's one there. And so you're going to click on that and it's going to zoom into the map and it's going to tell you where to apply. And in this case, you apply to the state program, then you click this link that says view. If it had not been part of the state program, the link it would provide would take you to the local program. This happens to be Disneyland's address. If Disneyland needed rental assistance, they would click on here, and this will take them to the local program for Anaheim. So wherever you are in the state of California, you're going to use this tool to determine whether you apply locally or at the state level. One common question we've had on our channel is, what happens if I need more money? And this can be a few different scenarios. Some tenants have applied for rental assistance and received help for back rent, and then were able to pay a little bit, and then now have found themselves back in a situation where they need additional funds. And it does look like the state will allow, as long as there's funds in place and the tenant is eligible, they will allow you to apply for those additional funds. I would encourage you to call the hotline or reach out to whatever representative you have via email and let them know that you need additional funds. You don't necessarily need to reapply. They may just need updated paperwork. What happens if you're approved for more rent than you should be? This is entirely possible. If, for example, there were duplicate applications, you applied to a local program and then the state took over, the local municipality switched over to the state program, landlords may accidentally receive too much in the way of rent. What's required is that the landlord must return that excess. They cannot collect excess rent. So it's up to the landlord to determine the exact amount that's needed and make sure they return the excess to the program. Another common question is, can a tenant be evicted right now? So the eviction moratorium at the statewide level, AB 832, expired at the end of September 2021. So the statewide eviction moratorium is over. There may still be a local eviction moratorium in place, so check your local area to see if that's the case. For example, Los Angeles County and Los Angeles City, as of the date we're filming this, have a local eviction moratorium in place. So while the statewide eviction moratorium is over, if a tenant has missed paying full rent from October 2021 going forward, they potentially could be evicted for non-payment of rent, whether it's related to COVID or not. But what is required? From October 2021 to March 2022, law requires that a landlord apply for rental assistance in the event that a tenant has not paid rent, and again, whether it's related to COVID or not. So a landlord must apply for rental assistance. If the tenant is not approved for rental assistance or doesn't cooperate or funds run out, then the landlord can move forward with unlawful detainer. In order for a landlord to evict for non-payment of rent, they must first apply for rental assistance. This does not apply to other at-fault reasons for eviction or no fault. Landlord isn't required in those cases to apply for rental assistance. Make sure you leave your other questions in the comment section below and we'll answer them in upcoming videos. If you'd like to know more about California's regulations for tenants and landlords and more updates on rental assistance, make sure you subscribe to our free weekly email newsletter and watch this next video.